big updates in big news, only for you, right here, right now. Greetings petrolheads and welcome to romrom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to our regular news roundup. Welcome to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. When time permits, please consider subscribing. And if you have any news for us, send us a mail to news@romrom.net. While this has nothing to do with sim racing, we at Romrom, and especially Serta, are big fans of musicals. And being as it is that one of the titans in the musical world, Sondheim, died on Friday, we dedicate this video to his memory. An artist who already in life belonged to the pantheon of musical theater, got an Oscar, 8 Tonys, 8 Grammys, and even a Pulitzer, and an Olivier Award. Mr. Sondheim, thank you for your art. Thank you for sharing it with us. Back to sim racing. Kartcraft got what they call an audio remaster update. While the news tidbit is short, it's a big download. But it seems they've remastered every audio file, including new music. But now, let's go into the woods. Oy vey, that didn't go well. We're at the moment at the 3rd or 4th hotfix for this update, but maybe since writing and recording of these news, we're further. What do I know? In any case, Kunos tried a big update and it ended with lots of people telling us about freezes and crashes after 10 minutes, Windows Defender considering the XA a virus, VR problems, driving problems, and, well, problems. While we understand the nature of delivering software for PC, it's a complex one. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, saw the movie, hey, they got Hugh Jackman to play me. This delivery has been a catastrophe. Not of NASCAR 21 proportions because, well, NASCAR 21, but still not a very good delivery. Should it ever work correctly, this is what you can expect within this update. It's got the BMW M4 GT3 for free and the 2021 GT World Challenge Europe season, and you can set up an open series so you can open up your races to all kinds of multi-class. And after the 1.8.1 fix, it now at last shows Zolder. Moving on, what we suppose is the basis of most issues is the update of the Unreal Engine Assetto Corsa Competizione uses to 4.26. 2. We have the suspicion this was not tested correctly or thoroughly, but we do not know it. If you had issues with multi-class championships not splitting points per class, this has been fixed. The AI now does, hopefully, better decisions when it comes to weather changes. Speaking of weather, Kunos developers have tweaked the variability and therefore the randomness of the weather, making the extremes more extreme in their way. Low will even out the cycles, while high may result in fast changes or longer weather spells. Also, standing water formation and dissipation have been heavily revised. It seems invalid laps were eligible for personal and session fastest, even in multiplayer, which has been corrected. But if you want a stable way to have your lap times recorded when racing Assetto Corsa Competizione, you are better served with the ACC Results Companion anyway. Then we have the reportedly immense physics changes, which by the way have rendered many setups unusable or heavily nerfed. And the jury is still out on how it feels, as it's as always giving you a realistic feeling of the way the wheel feels in a racing car. This is consistent with the philosophy of Assetto Corsa Competizione, but for us sim racers who don't have the G-forces on our body, and therefore we don't have the, pardon my French, ass meter of the body feeling, it may be too little. For those who like the force feedback of Assetto Corsa Competizione before, which includes me even if I think Automobilista 2's force feedback is better, it's an improvement. For others, it's same old, which means it's worse. Oh well. But let's go through the physics improvements. The physics engine now uses multi-threading and therefore the power of your CPU much better than before. This in turn means the CPU load is lower and the free cycles can be used for other calculations, including preliminary calculations for the graphics. But not the graphics calculations per se, those are made in your GPU, and I'll leave it at that before I nerd everyone out and put you to sleep. You'll decidedly notice the change in large grids, especially when racing against the AI. The refresh rate of the physics calculations has increased to 400 per second. The tire flex and the camber simulations have been improved, which in turn has improved the calculations for heating and wear, and not surprisingly has also improved the reaction of the car to different cambers. With regards to heat, the calculations of the heat in the tires because of extreme situations like burnouts, control loss and drifting has been improved, as well as in relation to tire pressures. And for better or worse, tires dissipate heat slower. For me, this means good news when handling GT4s, as I never could put enough heat on those tires, but if I skid off track, now the tires will be messed up longer. As you may notice, a lot has been done with regards to tires, and therefore the grip calculations, which have been completely rewritten, should be improved, which also means you should have more accurate vibrations from the tires when you have them on the edge of their capabilities, like in high angles and at high speed. And there's a ton of other changes when it comes to tires. You can read the details of those and other small details following the link in the description. All this results in improved force feedback, of course, but everyone will feel it differently and have their own opinion. Moving on, yeah, there's still some way to go. We said it was a big update, didn't we? Launch control, rev limiter and traction control behavior have been improved, as well as how the opening or closing of the brake ducts influences heating of brakes and tires. Brakes behave more realistically, and certain track and air temperatures induce the creation of mist on the track at night. And now at last we get to the cars. The Huracan GT3 and GT3 Evo have better front steer rod geometry, Nissan's GTR GT3 and Lexus RCF GT3s have better rear bump steer. Diverse balances of power have been introduced or updated: Open Series, 2021 British GT, IGTC, etc. Also, Assetto Corsa Competizione now has gotten updated SDKs from the corresponding wheel manufacturers, and last but not least, the force feedback frequency has been updated to match the update in speed from the physics calculations. Nope, we're not finished yet. Kunos have added support for DLSS from Nvidia and FSR from AMD. Not getting too technical here, both improve the graphics through software and, when activated, can improve FPS even in VR and 3-monitor configurations. The sweet spot is not easy to find, and for some configurations there may be no positive changes, but most of us should profit from these changes. The changes done in Assetto Corsa Competizione to support those and the updated Unreal Engine mean you should deactivate any third-party enhancements, and you may need to tweak the graphics settings. Also, all these changes, and especially the Unreal Engine change, have resulted in new camera settings for racing as well as for replays. Added to that, the spray as well as the raindrop effects have been improved and rotary switch animations added. Some small UI tweaks have also been added. There's a ton of other assorted small fixes and tweaks, which, as we said, can be found following the link in a description, because this segment is long enough already. More would end up in agony. Renowned Assetto Corsa mod makers Race Sim Studio are jumping on the Black Friday bandwagon and are offering their mods for 50% less than the original price, and some of them even for free. Formula Hybrid 2018, 2017, Formula RSS 2 and 3 V6 are free and directly downloadable, while all of the other mods are at half the price. All the offers are up until November 30th. Oh, and they tease a new project. That sounds a lot like the Formula Ones of yesteryear. Apart from this special sale, you can get racing sims at very good prices on Steam right now. What more do you need? Ha! We said last week that the new product Fanatec was teasing on their Black Friday page did look a lot like a PS-compatible DD wheel, and bang! It's the GT DD Pro, compatible with PS4 and 5 and with the right rim, even with the Xbox. Of course, the wheel system will be especially compatible with GT Sport and GT7. As the name says, this is a direct drive wheel with up to 8 Newton meters, so we suppose it's a system similar to the CSL DD, only with whatever Sony forces companies to have fit in there. The design of the rim, on the other hand, is very much Gran Turismo specific, so as to make PlayStation gamers really happy. Added to the wheel system, Fanatec delivers what very much looks like their CSL pedals in a 2-pedal setting, but without the load cell enhancement. That one has to be bought separately. The system can be pre-ordered now for €700 USD or more, depending on what you want added. The expected delivery date will be March 2022. Even at that price, I'd say Fanatec has once and for all pushed Logitech and Thrustmaster wheels to beginner level and is carving itself most decidedly a niche in the "I'll save a bit more to get a DD wheel" market. Fanatec has been full of right ideas in the last months. They clearly use the lockdown time to give everything a good thought and leave no stone unturned. Good for them. Meanwhile, we've gotten a lot of reports about CSL DD deliveries moved to January, as Fanatec didn't get the products shipped in time from China. If you're in this situation, you're not alone. No one is alone. If you like this video and would like to see more, consider becoming a patron, thus letting us spread our wings. And a big thank you to our first 2 patrons. Before we start with the news, be aware that not only can you test Automobilista 2 through a free demo with 2 Volkswagen cars at Velocità, at the moment and until Tuesday you can get Automobilista 2 and a lot of the content on sale for up to 75% less than the normal cost. Back to the news. Lots of changes once again, with Renato Simeoni once again burning the candle at both ends as he pulled at least one all-nighter. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the beginning. The Automobilista 2 News Week started on Monday with the second part of the November development update. On Monday, work was still ongoing in what Razer consider a landmark update coming in their 1.3 version. This landmark update comes on the coattails of analyzing and understanding the way the Madness engine at the core of Automobilista 2 deals with tires and drivelines. Something as small as a so-called syntax error, something only a little bit more complicated than a typo, and something that developers try not to make, but hey, they're only human, had gone unnoticed all this time, and solving it means your car now will get the right tire components on it. And further down the road, it means the tire physics will get even better. From our experience and that of many others, the cars now drive decidedly better, but it's not only because of solving this small glitch. The second part of these physics updates comes from revising, correcting and perfecting the way the differential is calculated, especially with regards to different frictions that happen in a car which have to do with the differential. And if you're already lost here, imagine how lost you'd feel if we'd go as much into detail as Renato does in his post, which of course we've linked in our description for those who want to go deeper into the details. Another thing that has been bettered in this second part is the clutch engagement formula, as well as the simulation of how the different parts of the engine work together to give you the oomph you need, and how that oomph gets moved into the gearbox and from there to the tires. These will make the experience of driving a car in Automobilista 2 nearer to reality, more fluid and organic, and it has repercussions in everything else going on in the car that is being simulated, its behavior towards the tracks, etc, etc, etc. What it sadly also means for us users is that we can once again throw away our setups, but with the bonus that the default setups are now much better. Also, Reza is adding a default plus force feedback profile that they hope will make more people happy, as they say it's more of a compromise between realistic force feedback and non-realistic force feedback that gives the information through the wheel we don't get with G-forces. And they also made clear they support the work of Carsten Wittberg and others in making an even better force feedback, even going so far as to linking it in the post, but the reason they are not adding that directly to Automobilista 2 is that for some reason the load on the computer memory was very high when doing so. No, don't go anywhere, there's even more. Imagine that, the AI did get yet another round of calibrations, and with 1.3 you should be able to mod it by giving the drivers names, liveries and their own special driver personality. Unluckily, Reza has also wasted time setting up a multiplayer rating system, which is about the 10,000th we see in as many sims and pages. Truth to be told, I'd very much prefer something like Just Race has, that is independent of the sims you race with. The time invested in all these 10,000 rating systems should maybe be invested in all sim makers sitting together and deciding and supporting one way to rate drivers for all sims and one open API to collect that information for anyone who wants to do so. Moving on, the second Racing USA DLC is about to be released and was expected before the end of the month, which I don't think will happen, but maybe it'll happen sometime during next week. We'll see. The second installment will be concentrated on single-seaters. There will be 3 generations of Formula USA cars with the 1995 IndyCar vehicles, the 1998 series and the 2000 series. The 3 tracks delivered with Racing USA 2 are going to be Watkins Glen, a for us unknown Cleveland temporary road course, and the third they are not telling yet, as it seems licensing is not finalized. In any case, it will not be ready at the release of the DLC, but will come shortly before the holidays as part of the DLC. The DLC cars will also be updated as soon as the Racing USA Part 3 comes out, as these will bring oval tracks and with them oval versions of the Indy cars. Racing USA Part 2 is planned to be sold at the same price of Racing USA Part 1. So we are at the end of the November up. No, we aren't, there's even more. Renato Simeoni confided they are about to close a licensing deal with Nissan, which will bring their cars into the sim very soon. And he teased they are in talks with 2 other manufacturers and hoped to be able to bring good news before the end of this year. Okay, now we can talk about the 1.3 update which came out yesterday Saturday. As we said a couple of minutes ago, lots of changes in this landmark update come from the extensive physics changes in the code. The default plus force feedback profile has found its way into this version, as has the beta of the multiplayer rating system, which brings many changes to the UI to accommodate player interaction as well as server stuff. And you can customize the AI or mod it, as Reza puts it. As we already said, the Volkswagen cars Polo and Virtus, which are in the demo, are now also part of the sim, and the Azure Street Circuit, which looks remarkably like a small country in Europe populated by tax evaders, has been updated with laser scan data. And yes, you will have to delete your car setups, as the old setups don't work here anymore. When it comes to cars, the Caterhams, F-Classics and BMWs M6 and M8 have seen their body drag coefficients revised, and the aero distribution as well as the setup of the Ginetta G55 were revised too. And before this gets too long, let's say a lot of the cars were revised, updated, corrected, or as the technical term goes, fiddled upon to make them better. The list of all details is in the second link about Automobilista 2 in our description. And talking about fiddling, Reza would not be Reza if they would not have fiddled with a lot even in this update, as would be the brake distance of AIs in GTs, the tire rolling sounds, the samples for the external camera, different vehicle sounds, or details in tracks like Bathurst, Virginia, Kyalami, of course Velocita, now that they've published it for the demo, and so many others. And they fiddled many and very diverse things in cars. Man, Reza don't stop, do they? And neither do we, as we can prove if you check the playlist to the left or the video to the right. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium. I guess this is goodbye.